Yes, but if it turns...
You ready?
Okay, you can start because it's red.
Okay, Claire Faustina, I'm just interviewing Mama. Okay, so I have a lot of questions to you today.
Okay.
Introduce yourself to people who do not know you.
I am Marie Macolillo, the wife of Ernest Macolillo, EBM.
Are you used now to EBM?
No, I know, I hear it, but it's still really funny to hear people call you EBM. That's just really... I mean, as it is, the Macolillo, when people say, hey, Macolillo. His name is Ernest, or so was he?
Even like now, it's strange for me because if someone asks, what's your name? So, by what? Ernest, should they call Macolillo? Should they call EBM? Should they, like, and I want to, like, because situations differ from one situation to another
Yeah.
So, you have been American all your life.
My whole life, 46 years, I've been in America.
Yeah. So, for you, at what age did you come to understand the issue of immigration? Like green card lottery? Like before meeting me, did you know like something called like green card lottery, whatever?
I had never heard of it. I don't even think most Americans even still have heard of it. Because when I talk to people about what you do, Ernest, they're so interested, and I have to say, you know, there's this lottery for the green card, and people in America have no clue. I mean, I'm sure there are people that do, but for the most part, we have no idea. So I only learned when you told me that's what you know, and then when our nephew won, and then our friends won, and other than that,
So what is your understanding about the green card? Your just overall, like the difference between the green card and someone coming for a visit, for instance, like what is the difference like for you on your case?
For me, no. See, the problem is that if I say something wrong...
No, for you are not me. I mean, it's your understanding.
But it could be my opinion. Okay, this is what I understand.
Yeah.
The main difference between a green card holder and like a visiting visa of any type is a green card holder can work. And you don't have a time that you have to leave. You can stay here as long as you want, and you can leave and come back. And the visa, there's no limits because you have a green card. It's like permanent visa, right?
Yes, exactly.
So you can come and go as you please, but just like any person that is legally in the United States, you have to follow the laws, just like the rest of us, you know?
So, each year, the green card lottery, people do apply in the month of October up to beginning of November, and they've already predicted the coming green card, whatever, but the results are usually coming in the month of May.
That's right. And you're always so busy. October, and before October, you're super busy, and before May, super busy, and then like right after, because of the results, you have all these things to do too.
So the issue is, let's say someone has won green card lottery and is expecting to come to America. What are the few things you let that person to know? These are the things you should do at the beginning will help you to succeed in America, and these are the things you have to be careful not to do at the beginning as a new person going to a new country.
Well, I think like one of the biggest things. Sorry.
She's just Claire.
She's resting.
I mean, where Faustina? Let
I think one of the big things, and it's not like, is that there's not going to be anyone to help you. Like, people aren't waiting for when you come to hand money to you. It's just not. The government's not going to give you money. They're not going to give you a place to stay. They're not going to give you food to eat. And it's just like Americans. It doesn't matter what you hear or what you say. I mean, most people would have to be absolutely destitute. You don't have hardly any money whatsoever. You're behind on all your bills before the government even helps you. And even that, it's never enough to pretty much get past. So you need to have the understanding that when you come to the United States, it's a lot of work. I mean, even if I were to go to a different country, I would be expecting myself to have to work very hard to establish myself in a new country. I think for the most part, people are welcoming of immigrants. I think there are some people that they have a hard time with immigrants, and you just ignore them. I mean, honestly, there's nothing you can do to change their mind, so you just ignore them. I mean, you know. But and if people tell you stuff, you just have to keep going. That's the best thing. So, but when you start to speak English all the time, it's going to be hard. And don't be too upset or stressed about that, because even now I speak with Ernest and I still have a hard time understanding him, and he has a hard time understanding me because I'm speaking American English. And Ernest learned British English, but it wasn't his first language, where American English is my first language. So I might not be able to explain to you why the words are the way they are, but it is. So be patient, and you know the laws. I would do it beforehand. Obviously it's book knowledge, but at least you would know the laws, because there's so many little things that can cause problems if you don't know. And the big cities are very expensive, and there's a lot of crime because it's a bigger city. You know, that's just normal. In smaller cities, not going to have as much crime, you know, and it's not going to be, hopefully the smaller cities not as expensive, but it's just different life, you know, what you want. And so don't get caught up in, I have to live in New York City, or I have to live in Los Angeles, or I have to live whatever. Like, that's not, I mean, you don't want to live in too small a town where you can't find work. But the big cities have public transportation where you pay to get on a bus, you pay to get on a subway. Smaller cities, like where we live, there is no bus, unfortunately. Everybody has to have a car. And Uber and Lyft are very expensive. You just can't always use an Uber just to go wherever you want. It's very expensive. So it's better to know somebody before you get here, and they can help you. Even if you're just asking someone like my husband, Ernest, about where are some cities where I could find jobs so I could live, but that also might have public transportation, or it's not too far to walk and it's safe to walk. Because just because you live in a certain part of town because it's cheaper, that doesn't mean it's safe. As if you're walking, you don't want to get into trouble. I don't know what else I'm thinking about. You know, our economy right now is inflated, so everything is more expensive. A dozen eggs, 12 eggs, right, and they are between $5 and $6. It's very, very expensive. And so everything's risen, and so you have to be very cognizant about that. You have to understand that. And the same goes for rent, where you rent, or because you'd have to have millions of dollars to come here and just buy a house right off the bat, you know. But there's always going to be extra fees everywhere you go. So make sure you have somebody you can trust, or some people you can trust, who can help you or your family if you do win the green card lottery and you're coming here. Not that you just come here with a plane ticket. That's you. I don't know. What else should I say?
No, those are the good, some of the good suggestions. What are the things people should avoid? Like mistakes-wise, like I'm giving example.
Always listen. I did this.
Like I'm giving example. Let's say when you credit card, you just get the card and you go and spend it in the movies, whatever, eat, whatever you do not understand what's going on. I personally
think that it would probably be in your best interest to not have a credit card right away. Yes, you do need to build some credit, but
you need to know the basics.
You need to truly understand a credit card, because a credit card here, you can just use it depending on the limit they allow you of how much money. Some are 500, some are 1,000, some are 5,000, 10,000. But then you owe all that money back, and they charge you anywhere from
Up to 20 to 30
to 30 something. I
interest.
mean, you could go up to 30% interest, and that's each month, and it keeps getting added. And then the problem is that if you don't pay, they have a collection agency that will come in and demand your pay. And if you're working, they can take it right from your check. So there's a lot of things you need to know. And credit cards are for when you're really comfortable and you know
the game of the card.
Yeah, that you can pay it off, things like that. I would, and also be aware of, this is something simple, but I noticed it with a lot of immigrants, is that in the United States, everybody has a refrigerator, or they don't buy food. Because nobody eats food that's been sitting out. Our stomachs are very sensitive because we have everything refrigerated or frozen, or we cook it right away and then we put it in the refrigerator. Leftovers is a big thing here. Either people eat it or they throw it away. So you will see a lot of wasting of food, which is unfortunate. But it's just, I'm not going to say this is it. That's just how it is. So I know in Ernest's culture, they can just put something aside for the next day and eat it. Whereas here, you're going to get very, very sick if you do that. And so be aware of that. I mean, obviously, if you have bread, you buy that at the store, you don't need to put that in the refrigerator. And our bread here is full of preservatives. It's just the way it is. So unless you want to make your own bread, it's very light and airy. But be aware that things cost.
And can you talk about certain kind of areas where there are some free services or free food in certain places, food, like pantries,
Okay,
whatever,
so,
kind
yes.
of those like,
So
because we have, as immigrants, we have the tendency of
not asking for help.
Apart from asking for help, we feel that if I go in, maybe visit someone's home, there is a celebration, whatever, there is a food. Oh, can you take the food home? It's bad behavior to take the food, or to go. There is a certain thing they give for free. I don't want to take it for free. Or someone has used some clothing they want to give to you, like for your child. Our countries, we don't have that much of the behavior.
Okay, so
How
here
is
in the
that?
United States, there are a lot of nonprofits where people will give you free things depending on where you live or what you need. You just have to look up like food pantry or free clothing. You just have to ask around. Usually it's the churches. Sometimes there's schools that do it or other organizations, but usually it's through churches. Unless it's a really big city, there's not going to be a huge mosque, and the same would go for big Jewish temples or big Catholic cathedrals or Christian cathedrals of any type. Usually in the smaller cities, it's just everything's smaller, but that doesn't mean that they won't help. And so you don't be afraid to ask. It's worse to not ask and then suffer and so it's worse, if you ask and you're told no, and but you at least asked. There are places that have, like, say every 3 weeks they have a food pantry where you can go and they will give you some canned foods that have like vegetables or beans, some dry pasta, or some fresh vegetables. And now it might not even be what you want. Again, American cuisine, food is very different from other places. But it's a good idea if you need help to inquire around. The worst thing you can be told is no.
And if like someone has a baby, for instance, because there are some immigrants who are winners of the DV lottery are coming
have
here,
a baby.
and then there is winter clothing, there is summer, whatever.
Yes,
But
so-
the tendency of someone can be a neighbor or a friend. Oh, we have the children they give for free, those kind of things. Not to feel bad because that is
Right.
normal. It's not that they disrespect you.
It's kind of, you have to be able to feel, you can, okay, say you have neighbors or you see people and you ask them, that's fine, but you never want to insist on having someone help you.
Yeah.
But there are places that you can get, I mean, there are people that will give you clothes or, you know, if you, and things like that. And I'm trying to think, there are places that will have diapers, but you're not going to ever get enough diapers where you don't need to go buy diapers. We call them diaper banks, like where you put in money, but it's different. It's a diaper bank. Basically, you get free diapers, but they may not be the ones you like, or the ones that your baby is okay
size,
with,
yeah.
or the size, you know. So be prepared that diapers are something expensive here, and if you have cloth diapers, I guess if you're already doing it in your home, then you can do it here. But you have to be careful of the plumbing. Plumbing is a big thing. You can't just wash anything down the pipes. Same goes for food. You can't just throw food down the pipes. In the end, it will ruin the pipes. And so you have to be very careful. Trying to think what. I just think that a lot of nonprofits just ask around and talk to people. I mean, you could be in the grocery store and meet somebody and say, "Do you know about any nonprofits in the area?" Or maybe go to the park and you meet somebody and you can ask them there. And our parks here, for the most part, are free. And you can just go and your children can play and you can sit on the grass and, you know, but always be mindful and respectful that other people are there too. It's an important thing. We're all sharing it. And
the other thing is you have been in Tanzania 2 times.
yes, one 13 years ago and one 1 year ago.
Yes. So if you look back after you are both visited, especially the most recent one, whatever, or plus meeting a lot of immigrants from other countries, especially from Tanzania, what are the qualities you see from immigrants from East Africa or from Africa in general? You see it will be, yes, it's hard, but it is easier to succeed here if they take certain kind of their principles and they apply in American life.
Because I do think that immigrants on a whole work harder. And I don't think that, I do, how do I say this? Americans can work very, very hard, but some Americans and I don't think it's just Americans. I think it's people in general. Some people can get lazy. But if you really want to succeed here, you will work hard. And you can survive. It takes a long time, even for an American, to get a lot of money and have a home. Because here we have mortgages on homes, but it's still pretty expensive. And but working hard, being respectful of everyone around you, and don't care how others perceive you. Like, it doesn't matter whether people see you as rich or poor. It doesn't matter if people see you as famous or not. It does not matter. You need to do what you need to do for your family. And that's important. Take care of your children, take care of your family. I think it's also important to understand here that it's very easy to get arrested for hitting your spouse or your children. You can still spank them. I don't know. You can spank them, but you cannot
Beat like how we used to be beaten back in our days.
You can't do that, and you cannot hit your spouse at all, whether a woman or a man. You cannot. cannot do that. Not here. It should be done anyway, but you cannot do that here. You will be arrested. And you don't want to end up in jail. But there is a lot of opportunity. There are a lot of jobs that people don't want, that if you work hard, you can save up a lot of money. And you don't have to have the best apartment or the best clothes. You just do what you can.
Especially here, you wear jeans or whatever, you go to work. Most of the job is not like they dress up like how we do in Africa with a tie, whatever, like you are going to normal. I mean, unless it depends on the job, but majority of the jobs, you wear casual. Mm-hmm. Majority of the jobs. So what is your last thing or last advice, prayer, whatever it is for people who are waiting for the results coming up, and whether they win or they don't win for the upcoming application? What is your last advice to them?
That's a hard one. But I think that stay hopeful and know that God has a plan, and whether that means you win the lottery now or later or not at all, there is a plan, and God's plan is always the best, even when we can't see it. Ernest and I and our children, our family, we haven't had it easy, and I'm American. My parents didn't have it easy. They were American. Their parents before them, they lived during the Great Depression. Not everybody has a lot of money, but we still somehow find a way to have a nice life. It doesn't have to be, you have everything. You don't need everything, but you have to come here with the understanding that you're starting, and you can build from there. So be hopeful and make sure you do what you're supposed to do. And if you don't get the green card lottery this time, maybe you'll get it next time. And because it truly is just a lottery, there's nobody is picking you out of like names and saying, I want this person instead of that person. It's just a computer drawing out numbers, and that's how they pick them. There's no human involved. So, and make sure you do all the right things at the interview if you do win, and just do the best you can. And if you really feel like you can make it here in the United States, keep going with the lottery. But if you're happy where you're at, if that's okay too. There's nothing, you don't have to come here. It's great. I mean, but your country might be great too. So it all depends on what you really need in your life. So stay hopeful. Stay hopeful.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.